It is Sunday, October 22nd, 2017, Wrestleview Live, number 23. No fancy music this week. We're going to get right to it. I am Adam Martin, editor-in-chief of Wrestleview.com. Thank you for everybody watching on YouTube. First of all, I want to apologize for totally botching this last 2 weeks ago, I think, for what was the last show? Hell in a Cell. There we go. Getting older and I'm forgetting all these shows. There's too many pay-per-views. We'll talk about that with Mike because he feels my pain covering these shows. We're here tonight to talk about the WWE TLC show, which was a ridiculously crazy show in the last 48 hours or so with all the announcements. Normally, Doug Lackey joins me for these shows, but instead we have somebody a little different with us this evening. He actually was recapping the show for us on Wrestleview.com today and was gracious enough to jump in here for the next 20 minutes and give his thoughts. It is Mr. Mike Tedesco. Mikey, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. You hit the nail on the head. Different.
Well, so I guess what we should talk about is normally, we've been flipping roles. I've been covering Raw. You normally cover Raw, and I usually cover SmackDown.
Right.
So we flipped roles the last couple weeks. So it was weird for me because I was really actually looking forward to the show, and then I for some reason am cursed every time I decide to take 2 days off from wrestling stuff. The whole wrestling world decides to just blow up in my face. So I was 2 hours into a drive on Friday, and all this Kurt Angle, Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, viral meningitis, mumps, whatever is happening on the roster right now. I still actually don't. They just said viral infection, so they've yet to officially confirm what it is. But all this stuff went down on the roster, and it completely changed the dynamic of this show tonight. So you sent me a message where you were like, wow, this is actually going to be a good show. Because I know you're a little up and down with Raw. You sit there for 3 hours usually and cover these shows. So you seemed very excited about getting to watch this show tonight and cover it.
I was. Usually Raw around this time, I need to actually post the suicide hotline number right on my computer screen, just in case I start getting any thoughts, because Raw gets that bad in the fall, winter time, when NFL starts breaking out. When I heard that Kurt Angle and first of all, I thought it was a joke. Because the first thing first place I saw it was a Trey and Adam show thing. And I was like, haha, kayfabe news, whatever. And then I was like, wait a minute, no, this is something different. And the more I started looking at all other websites and it was on mainstream stuff, I was like, oh my God, it's actually real. And I texted you out because I was actually just getting ready. I was packing up. I was leaving my school, and I was like, oh shit, this pay-per-view this weekend, and because I just talked to a friend of mine, and he's like, oh, is there a pay-per-view this weekend? I go, yeah, again, there's another freaking pay-per-view this weekend. They do them every 2 weeks. It's crazy. And then I saw that, and I was like, whoa, my weekend seems like it just got a little easier to recap. And it lived up to the hype. I gotta say, the two additions made it feel fresh. Made it feel different. I can't complain. I really, really, really was not looking forward to Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor again. So thank God for viral meningitis. The only thing that was missing was I put up a tweet right when Enzo came out because he had the sore throat.
Yeah. And
I said, man, can't we just cancel this match? Maybe he has viral meningitis too, because I do not want to see Enzo Amore wrestle anymore. But
the stuff with Bray and Finn has been atrocious on television, and it's weird because so I'm one of the few people that actually still do like the Bray Wyatt character just because of how different it is, and it's you need characters, you need different presentations, and you need a lot of guys just kind of mold into one on the roster. So I like Bray Wyatt, but I get people getting super bored with him rocking back and forth in a chair and just saying, weird shit. And when I watched Finn for 2 weeks, or maybe it was maybe 3 weeks, walk out and cut the same promo and it say the same thing, like insert city here. This is, Portland Club, and this is wherever they were.
Yeah.
And then to go to Bray, and I was like, and I know Dave Meltzer joked, somebody save Finn from this storyline. And, in a way, viral meningitis or mumps or whatever it was, did that. And it was weird because and we'll talk about the main event because I know that's what is on the minds of everybody. We'll jump around because we don't follow, script, whatever. We'll just talk about what we want to talk about.
Like everybody's dying to hear us break down Elias versus Jason Jordan.
You never know. There could be some Jason Jordan marks out there that really want to get some breakdowns, but
I don't want to meet them.
You know what? He's coming together for me as a singles guy, but tonight was a little rough. But Finn and AJ now. So we're not really like Bullet Club too sweet. I mean, maybe you are. I'm kind of like I appreciate what they're doing, but I'm not like ready to go to Hot Topic and buy a T-shirt, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
And I am impressed. Like I was in Chicago this week, and I was in one of the most popular malls in Chicago, and there was Bullet Club shirts in there, and I thought, hey, that's really cool. That they can spread beyond the WWE machine and be successful. And I would never knock anybody for being, from a marketing standpoint, being successful, but they played off of it a little bit on commentary tonight, where they said that these two guys, used to be in Japan, and they, had a history. And when Finn was the leader of the Bullet Club and left, then AJ stepped in and took over. I get all that stuff. I don't think, most WWE fans probably don't give a shit about that stuff, but your hardcore wrestling fan is glad they said that, because had they maybe not said that, they would have been really, really pissed off. But I didn't I was talking to Brian Farmer. I don't know if he's in the chat with us right now live, but I think he is. He was saying he felt a little underwhelmed by the match and by Finn. To me, this was just kind of a nothing match, because this wasn't supposed to. We were supposed to get Bray Wyatt in a dress with a weird voice wrestling the Demon, and we got AJ Styles taking a 20-hour flight from where they were overseas to make it to the show tonight. So.
Man, I thought that our interests are going to be so much more aligned tonight, because I remember last pay-per-view I did, what was it? Another gimmicky ass pay-per-view. I think it might have been Hell in a Cell, where I said, or something like that, where I said that I liked something and then you didn't like it.
Oh, we always disagree. It's hilarious to me. Yeah. Like I sit there.
Oh no, it was the one with the John Cena one, like 2 pay-per-views ago now, which is less than a month, but 2 pay-per-views ago.
Okay.
I think it was what is it, like Breaking Battleground or some shit. But anyway, so like I liked one match and you were like, this was horrible, and I said like this was crap, and so I thought we were going to be so aligned on this one. I thought this was a slam dunk that you would like the AJ Styles Finn Balor match.
I didn't hate it. I just, it to me was a nothing match. Like it was so like they did the Ring of Honor, let's shake hands, but let's do the 2 like. It just like I just pictured all the Bullet Club fans sitting in their chair and coming at the same time. Like I don't get into this stuff. Like, and a lot of people are like really into like Japanese and they get pissed off when I'm not like ready to like high five them. Go, yeah, like I like Japanese wrestling. I can appreciate it, but you can't bring that shit over here and just. You gotta forge your own story over here. Like they've already told that story in Tokyo or wherever they are. You can bring aspects of that stuff over, but I just don't give a shit about that stuff. And I know that wrestling fans love that stuff. And if you watch this match tonight and that got you excited and you liked that aspect of it, cool. But it was a nothing match to me. Like they just had to do something. They had to do something tonight.
Well, I could say this is that like I'm with you in that like I don't like shit all over myself to watch the Japanese stuff, and in fact I subscribe to NJPW, whatever that website is, once a year just to watch Wrestle Kingdom, and I stay up late to watch it. And then I always forget to cancel it, so I renew it for another month, so I get it till February, and so they got me, haha. But, I liked the match for the reasons that you probably didn't like it. I'm just like, like going back to like the Asuka match. Like, I thought that...
How do you say that again?
Asuka should have just went in there and just wiped Emma out real quick, because they've done this entire run with Emma is build her up like she's a total joke.
Yeah,
she's the one that takes the pinfalls. She's everybody. Yeah. She's the perennial loser.
Was it weird to you that she destroyed the whole NXT roster, but it took her like 10 minutes to beat Emma tonight? Is that what your deal was?
That's what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is saying like, okay, Asuka had this like unique thing going on in NXT, and then she comes up. And it's just like they did with Nakamura, and it took him a long time to recover from it. They did just a regular match, any other WWE match that you've ever seen.
Yeah,
the same formula over and over again. And it took Nakamura. Well, first of all, Dolph Ziggler is just like he's destined to.
Oh, Jesus.
Death to any debuting wrestler.
Does Victoria want to fight right now or something? She want to throw a steel chair at your face? Or?
No, she's scanning something.
Okay.
And just
right.
drop the...
I'm scanning stuff for you.
Hi, Victoria. I know. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry for that.
Right. By the way, they're loving how you're saying Asuka's name in the chat room. Sometimes you'll say Asuka, and then sometimes you'll say Asuka. So we all like that. I'm a big fan already.
I'm glad I can entertain with my pronunciations of Japanese names. I'm not really.
I always screw up Finn Balor. I say Finn Balor. I always screw up, so I say Finn. So I have the same problem. It's all right.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
What I'm saying is, like, she came up and just did like the same match that you see. That like you could have just changed the faces, and it would have been the Alexa Bliss Mickie James match. Pretty much. So like I just appreciate when I see any type of break or just rest from the typical WWE style match. So like, and knowing the background a little bit, like I don't watch Bullet Club stuff. I didn't watch any videos. I normally don't watch any videos of guys on the indies because to me, it just doesn't mean anything until you make it to the WWE roster anyway. And I include TNA in that as well. I don't think TNA is in major leagues here. So, I just having like a brief synopsis of like what they're doing. I thought it was a good match. I thought it was a lot of fun. And as just like a guy who just enjoys wrestling, from time to time, like, every now and then I'll just go on the network and go to like their hidden treasures section and like watch like a black and white match. I could just sit there and just watch it. I enjoy the art form of it, the choreography, the story that they kind of told without, the commentators really going into too much detail about it. Mm-hmm. I could appreciate it. And I thought that for what we would have had with Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor compared to what we got, major upgrade. And other than like the Roman Reigns match, I thought this was the hottest match that Finn Balor's had since debuting on the main roster, and probably one of his best ones, just in terms of getting people to care about him and the just the story that the match was able to tell, because he didn't have to rely on any stupid gimmicks. I mean, yeah, he was wearing the demon makeup, but this match would have been hot if he came out just as, the white Irish Fonzie.
Well, it's like we could have had him wrestling Bray in a dress tent. Like, I didn't hate the match. I just, at the end of the day, it doesn't really mean anything. I mean, it just, they had to do something. With
it's wrestling for the sake of wrestling, and sometimes that's not a bad thing.
No, and that's why I'm like, didn't hate the match, but at the end of the day, I don't see the point in, what does this mean for AJ Styles, Mike, to lose? And it's like, well, it's just they had to.
Right.
Yeah.
I was about to write like a snarky tweet like, well, isn't AJ going to be Jinder Mahal's next, WWE, opponent, WWE title opponent, and he lost to Finn Balor? I could have said that, but fuck it, it's a one night thing. Who cares?
I like it. Fuck it.
Am I allowed to curse on the show? I'm sorry, I don't even know.
No, you're good. And they were saying in the chat, I think Jamel said that tonight was a weird, cheesy, sloppy fun. So it was like good, but there was, it was just a weird. And I was in the same situation as you when Paul called me on Friday, and he's like, "Yeah, Kurt Angle's replacing Roman Reigns." I'm like, "Ha ha ha," and he's like, "No, like it's on .com. Like, go." I'm like, "No, like you don't have to joke. Like I'm, I'm driving somewhere right now, so you don't have to like mess with me." So hearing that, I was actually kind of happy that AJ replaced Bray, because I've been recapping the Sister Abigail Finn Demon saga for the last couple weeks, and it stinks every week, and it doesn't get any better. And I don't know what this means for that, if they're going to just power, because you can't like have, I mean, this was like supposed to be like Halloween scary dude thing, and it just, that's obviously not going to happen anymore. So was not a big fan of that. Why don't we talk about though what everyone was super excited about tonight, when that was seeing 48-year-old Kurt Angle get back in the ring tonight, which you joked the reason they gave him the Shield vest was maybe to cover up the physique. He actually looks like he's in pretty good shape. Like, I don't know if like he's ready to take a shirt off or anything, but for a guy his age, he's in pretty good shape.
Oh yeah, well, Kurt Angle has an insane exercise regimen. I had a funny Kurt Angle story from early, like at the beginning of the summer. Long story short, my brother-in-law was dating somebody who worked for WWE. She said that she could do this thing for Victoria's school where she could get like a superstar to come in for this reading challenge, and she was just trying to show off to us. Mm-hmm. So Victoria's organized this thing. She's like, "Oh, well, what superstar you got coming in?" She's like, "I never said I could do that." So I got in touch with Kurt Angle's agent, and Kurt Angle sent in a video to her school. I also got in touch with Mick Foley as well, and he sent a video in as well. But like when Kurt Angle sent his video, he was like just like sweating profusely, and he had just got done with like a crazy workout. I'm like, this guy is insane. He's a monster. And so I'm sure he looks great with his shirt off, but I just figured that he just wasn't like, ring ready. And
Sure.
I think they wanted to protect him as much as they could. And probably the vest also acted as a buffer between those chair shots and the table bump as well.
Did you like?
I mean, it's a lot to ask of a guy 2 days out who hasn't wrestled in quite some time. I mean, I know he wrestled like probably earlier this year in England or something like that, but
He wrestled, I think he wrestled last year at some point, maybe before WrestleMania. Or no, he was wrestling a little bit before WrestleMania, I think. But
yeah, wasn't it like Will Ospreay or something like
yeah,
that?
And then he had a match with Cody Rhodes for that Northeast Wrestling promotion, I think, that does a lot of shows. So he was actually wrestling still. But I liked that that Kane was going a little light with him in the corner. You could see like the like little slow knees. And then as soon as Angle got a steel chair, he just went like whack, and he nailed Kane right on the arm. And you could see Kane go like Jesus, and just kind of like moved around. And it was like, and I noticed like Booker T, he was talking on commentary about how it looked like
commentary tonight. Too. Oh,
Booker, you can't like Booker T is just I mean, he's hilariously bad. But he was talking about how he's like look at Kurt. He's winded, he's gassed, he's sitting on the and Corey Graves is like what, or maybe it was Corey Graves who pointed it out or somebody pointed it out, and they all started arguing. But yeah, like I got to tell you though, and I don't know what it is, if it's like because I'm getting older, and when I see like old, like maybe because when I watched like Sting wrestle with a t-shirt on for so long in TNA, and then I saw him get hurt with Seth Rollins a couple years ago, and then like when I saw 48-year-old Kurt get put through a table by Braun Strowman, who's just like this massive dude, and like I know it's a simple like it's a simple power slam through a table, but I was like, ooh, like it just kind of it hurt to watch. And I know obviously he was fine and nothing was wrong and he came back, but there's just like moments where I'm like, I mean, that dude's 48. He doesn't need to be taking bumps. So maybe you do one more match with him because this was so impromptu and so out of nowhere. But I don't know if you had the same vibe watching, him taking bumps tonight. But I was just like, ugh, it made me nervous.
Yeah, no, I was definitely nervous for him. Well, I was actually just thinking like he's an older dude. Again, like this is not like I get it. He wrestled maybe like 6 or 7 months ago, maybe longer, maybe 8 months, just getting yourself ready for that, and getting the whole stretching regimen down and all that stuff. I was thinking like, this guy could, not even just like, thinking like he's going to break his neck. I was thinking like, he could, tear a muscle, he could, something could happen here. So I was definitely worried for him. I thought they kept him to a healthy minimum though. Like they kept him out of that for like half the match. The match went on for about 45 minutes, it seemed like, and he was out for a good portion of that match, so he didn't have to do anything physical. I thought the Braun Strowman bump, while it looked scary, I thought he protected him pretty well and kind of it looked kind of gingerly that he put him through the table. So I wasn't really too uberly concerned with that, but I was just more concerned with just, this guy just found out 2 days ago that he has to wrestle in a pay-per-view main event, and Kurt Angle is not the kind of guy to just phone it in. I saw like somebody posted a thing again on the Trey and Adams show page where they showed like these like highlights of Kurt in TNA taking these outrageous totally asinine bumps. And I don't even think it was a pay-per-view match that he did those on. I think it was just a random Impact taping.
He used to flip off the cage in TNA a lot, and like in front of like 1,000 people. I was just like, oof, like
right. I know, like he needed to be saved from himself in that company. He really did. He was just out of control. So like I was thinking like sort of like he might feel pressure to also do something impressive. And yeah, I think they curbed that as well. I thought everything was pretty safe with him. I was happy.
The internet is already having fun with Kurt and the Shield attire there. I'm going to put it on the screen here so you won't be able to see it, but it's on the Trey and Adam Show Facebook page, which obviously will be changing. It says it's a picture of when Kurt first walked out with the Shield, and it says when your dad is more excited about trick or treating than you are, and it's him putting his hands up because he was very excited during the entrance. And the internet's a rude place, so I had to share that one. But that's naturally going to happen. But he is 48, so I mean, and he is a dad, so it's not
now. The other thing you could say is it's definitely an indictment on the WWE creative engine that, Roman Reigns goes down and the only option they have is 48-year-old Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Who obviously they're saving up for some big comeback match, not for tonight. So they totally spoiled that.
Who else could you have slid, like hypothetically, like I know it's easy to sit here and say that, but I felt the same way. I was like, really? Like, could we not have slid in someone else on the roster that maybe could have? Now I know if I would have said Jason Jordan, I would have got punched in the face, because obviously, they're trying to make that work, but it's not quite at that. He's not quite, let's put him in the main event ready, but I don't know. Like who do you slide in? Do you slide someone in there from SmackDown the way they brought AJ over?
I would have. I definitely would have. I don't know who it would have been, maybe, but I mean, like, what was Randy Orton doing? They already sent Triple H down to Chile. Like, that's more star power than Chile really needs. So,
is it Chile or Chile?
Chile.
Chile.
I don't care. How about that? It's Chile to me.
It's Chile. Well, it is pronounced. It's Chile. It's Chile to us. So that's fine. No, but I thought the same thing. So Brian Farmer, how dare you? He said Heath Slater, Kurt Hawkins. I don't know. I was like just tossing out names at this point. How dare you, Mr. Farmer? So what did you think of? So they was very drawn out. They had the story was Kurt gets put to the table. The Shield is being taken out by Miz, Strowman, Kane, Sheamus, Cesaro, and then Kane and Braun Strowman start fighting. For some reason, Kane puts Braun Strowman through the stage with a choke. By the way, the chokeslam looked terrible. It was just so forced and so dumb. I liked the chair spot, even though we've seen that before with John Cena. But then they put Braun Strowman in a garbage truck, and then that helps the Shield, and then Kurt Angle walking back down the ramp, that was fun. Yeah, but I don't know. It's just obviously the goal was we want the show to end with Kurt Angle with his arms in the air with the Shield. So I get it, but it was just they got there really weird. It was a weird turn.
I know it was almost like, I felt like most of the show was just like, okay, we got to get to 3 hours. We only have so much stuff. What can we do? I got an idea. Let's send Elias out there 3 times, and 2 times we'll have Jason Jordan come out with a shopping cart and throw vegetables at him.
I didn't totally hate Elias, I'll be honest with you. Like, I know
it was pretty funny.
I'm supposed to probably hate that, but like when he's out there and does the little guitar strum, and I'm okay with it. It makes me giggle.
I'm an Elias fan. I do not mind the guy at all.
What do they say? You walk with Elias? Is that the catchphrase? Yeah.
When I was in Brooklyn, I definitely was shouting. I definitely want to walk with Elias.
You want to walk with Elias? I like it. Okay. I know what you mean though. But they were just, I mean, if you look at the card wasn't that fan. The show was built around the return of the Shield, and that blew up on Friday. So
I know. I mean, crazy.
Got headlines though.
So I guess maybe that's why they needed Kurt Angle. I mean, like, I guess, like, what else could you do if you're expecting the Shield, and then you're gonna, I guess, Randy Orton be too underwhelming? Like, I don't know.
You're not going to get a USA Today headline with, "Hey, Randy Orton's replacing Roman Reigns this Sunday at TLC." So I get what you're saying. That's a very valid point. So totally get that one.
Just realized.
I know you got to bail because you have a long, very early morning, a long day. But anything else on the show that stood out to you that we didn't get a chance to talk about? The Alexa Bliss Mickie James match, the cruiserweights flipping around, the debut of Asuka, anything like that?
The crew. Well, first of all, I just want to say about the TLC match. It was definitely just long and drawn out, but started hot and ended hot, and I didn't walk away feeling disappointed from it. So that's a major plus, because they can, they've been building up pay-per-views pretty well lately. I think that they've actually done a very good job lately of building up these pay-per-views into something like, okay, I kind of want to go out of my way to see it, and then it kind of underwhelms. I felt that way, when I did watch the Brock Lesnar Braun Strowman match again. I was like, okay, Adam's right. It wasn't that good.
It wasn't good.
But this one actually delivered. I guess like something else from the pay-per-view. I thought I was going to get a lot more hate on this. Like, I watched the 2 cruiserweight matches, and I just left with the thought in my head of just like, who cares at all? Yeah, they had a great match. They can do a lot of flips. They move really fast. Who cares? They had the two faces, the two heels had characters. Like, so we got Jack Gallagher and Brian Kendrick. They definitely have some characters. The two faces, they could have been any creator wrestler on WWE 2K18. It was, they're just templates of just like stuff. There's nothing to them. They're all the same. Kalisto, oh my god, that pop he got was embarrassing. Like when especially when Kurt Angle debuted him a few weeks ago. This division's a mess. It's a total mess.
It's weird. It's weird because in recapping the last couple weeks, they've been doing some stuff that's interesting in terms of ending the show with Enzo. So it's actually made me kind of like pay attention, like when he was making fun of all of them and calling Mustafa Ali Mufasa and, you know, just making fun of people. Like I was like, oh, this is kind of funny. And then when he lost and then to win it back again. But yeah, like the tag match is like, let's just leave that for 205 Live. We don't really, maybe put that on the kickoff show, but we don't really need that. You know, I didn't have a problem with Enzo and Kalisto having a match tonight because they've actually been, you know, closing Raw with that as that a storyline. But yeah,
right.
It's
but
not,
like in terms of like it being like the Raw main event, it's very clear lately that they are doing a 2-hour Raw with a third bonus hour right now.
Oh yeah, without question.
It's like okay, let's get to halftime and then everybody will just tune into the game after that. So let's put the cruiserweights on last, so nobody's gonna miss anything. But at least, at the very least, they've made it interesting for you to watch. So that is positive.
Monday Night Football's back, Mike. So
I know.
You're gonna get some pretty weak third hours at this point. Before we let you go,
I just want to say I did like, you know, the typical WWE. Let's live in a bubble, and one match doesn't mean anything to the other match. You know, like things mean nothing on the show in general, I guess. But like, you know, for Booker T and Michael Cole and Corey Graves to harp on Mickey James's age, and then they march out Kurt Angle at 48 and he's unstoppable. Meanwhile, Mickey James is like 10 or 12, 11 years younger than him.
Actually, someone made the point, I think it was Sean Ross Sapp on Twitter, that said Tamina is actually older than Mickey James, but they don't point that out. I believe that's, I don't know if that's true. I'll look at, let's just Google it.
Mickey James, in her, almost for her entire WWE career, except for when she debuted as the Crazy Lady, has had some of the most god-awful, personality-crushing storylines in the history of WWE, I think. You know, she went through that thing. I remember when I was recapping SmackDown years ago, where Michelle McCool and Layla were just, they're calling her Piggy James. She was fat.
I remember that, yeah.
I felt so bad for her. I was like, this is fucking like just
yeah,
so
but
mean.
It's
so mean.
It's mean, but it's like, it's also television though. So at the same time, it's like,
I get it. But nothing in WWE happens, you know, for no reason. I really believe. Like, you know, like the commentators, all of a sudden they all start collectively hating on Enzo. I was like, definitely it's real.
Yeah, it's it's very intentional. It's like very like, well, we'll just say this. We don't really mean it, but it's like, well, clearly you do. You just passing it off as a television thing.
We're not bullies, but
Tamina is 39 and Mickey James is 38. So Mickey just turned 38. So yeah, that's let's ignore that one, that she's a year. I mean, it's granted it's a year difference, but yeah, and Kurt's like 10 years older, so yeah, it's totally different. But
it's very Fox News-ish, very bubbly.
Just a little bit, just a bit. Before we let you go, let's go to the poll question that you put up actually. Asking people what they thought about the show tonight. So far, 69% thumbs up, which surprises me. And maybe the Kurt Angle stuff helped, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think the show stunk. It was just, you know, this feels like at the end of the day, like I feel like absolutely nothing has changed. Like there was weeks of television that I recapped for Raw, and like tonight, just nothing means nothing. Like it just stuff happened tonight in Minneapolis. So,
well, at least it was, you know, like that, like I said, that is generally the case for the entire fall period of WWE. Stuff just happens and it means nothing. And then you'll get to like, you know, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania season. And it's just like, okay, what did we do back in October? I don't remember that.
Who cares, right? Yeah, nobody cares.
Who gives a shit? You know, nobody cares. 15 title changes, the Cruiserweight title, big deal. Who cares?
Whatever, that's fine.
Whatever, you know. But like, if they're gonna give me nothing, at least they can make it entertaining. And I thought at least tonight I didn't feel like I wasted my life watching.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It was just, you know, the show starts all over again tomorrow night. So we'll see that now the goal is Raw versus SmackDown the next few weeks till we get to Survivor Series. So.
Oh yeah, because they've done a really great job of building up brand and integrity. Like thank you SmackDown.
I love like
thank
Mike just going
as AJ Styles, and now we're gonna fucking feud with you.
Mike is like the Muppet off to the side where I'm like, hey guys, just so you know, they're gonna build up Raw versus SmackDown, and Mike's like, yeah, that's cool. I guess we'll watch that show tomorrow. It'll be great. Totally the angry Muppet. I like Mike could be the new angry Muppet of this podcast of like what everyone's thinking, but they can't chime in because they maybe aren't watching live in the chat. So I like it.
I will be the Donald Trump of Wrestleview.
You were one night on Twitter. You were using sad a lot. It was making people very angry. They're like,
oh, I know. Yeah, I just love pushing people's buttons because God, I mean, like, let me just say this. Let me preface this by saying I love our readers. I'm very appreciative that they've been reading me for years, and I get a lot of nice emails. But God, there are some miserable people out there that are so easy, and I'm at a point now in my wrestling career, my wrestling journalism career, where I know how to press the buttons. I enjoy pressing the buttons. I love getting a reaction, and
can't help it. I know,
and they're easy. I can't help it.
It's fun. It's good stuff. Well, I have kept you on here longer than I said I would, so I will let you do your thing. You pulled double duty tonight, sir, covering the show for us on WrestleView. So if you didn't watch the TLC pay-per-view tonight, Mike has a great detailed recap. I can speak English up on WrestleView.com. And then he was nice enough to jump on here. And there's Victoria. Hi, Victoria.
Hi.
That's Victoria. Victoria is also a rare female that watches professional wrestling as well. So that's
Miz should have not been on tonight because of the viral infections going around, and they're having a girl. So I'm very concerned for Maurice's baby.
I didn't even think about that. That's a very good point. That's a very, very good point. It does.
I've been hearing about this for the last day and a half.
You're like, this is new to you guys, but I've been hearing this all weekend. It's terrible. Yeah.
She wanted me to write an op-ed on WrestleView about it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not wasting my life writing.
They had a gender reveal on the Halloween.
They did.
Okay, they had a gender reveal, and Miz is having a girl. Breaking news, WrestleView.
They cut open a cake, but I just didn't. I was in Chicago, so I was like, if Jason decides to report it, that's cool, but whatever. It's like, it's fine.
Although Jason is the resident Total Divas podcast recap.
He is.
A couple of years ago, he did a Total Divas podcast, and I remember when I found out about it, I was just like, what in the world?
If Victoria
does Namako know about women and Total Divas?
If Victoria wants to break down like Total Divas and Total Bellas, and by all means, because I do not watch those shows, but if she wants to, by all means, we would appreciate that.
I watch them.
I know you probably have to because it's relaxing time. It's TV time. It's cuddle time.
Relaxed. This is me relaxing.
Just making a face, being very nervous. All right, well, I'll let you do your thing. Thanks for jumping on here for about a half hour with me. I appreciate it, sir. We got to do more podcasting stuff more often. I always don't want to bother you when you're covering the show. So I'm
more than happy to jump on with you any day. It's not work. It's not a podcast to me. It's just shooting the shit with my friend. Yeah. So it's all good.
No script. We're just hanging out. That's all it is.
That's it.
All right, everybody. That is Mike Tedesco from Wrestleview.com. You can follow him on the Twitter at Mike Tedesco WV. So we will talk to you very soon, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Mikey Tabasco. So we are going to open the phone line. I'm going to pop that up on the screen here, but I'm going to give. So our buddy Goosey was actually at the arena tonight, and I'm giving him the cue on the Twitters to give us a phone call. He actually attended the show live tonight, so I'm curious if it's always fun to see if there's something on the show that maybe we missed, or I don't know. It's a different perspective. So we'll hear from Goosey, and I'll put the number up on the screen eventually here because I know some people. I know Jason Jason definitely call in, but let's get Goosey in here first. We'll see if he calls in. I don't know what he's doing, but he wanted to chime in. Brian Farmer said, "Poor guy." It was funny because for people that frequent our Facebook group that is called the Trey and Adam Show, and yes, I'm keenly aware this is a show called WrestleView Live, and we will be changing that in very, very soon. I say that for a very good reason. It's going to be happening. But for those who frequent that Facebook group, Goosey's been very down on the product, so I'm surprised he bought a ticket to go see TLC tonight. But I guess the Kurt Angle thing, maybe that boosted ticket sales. I know the show. I read it wasn't sold out yet, but maybe they thought with walk-ups it looked packed to the rafters. I mean, I know they cut off a portion of it for the stage and everything, but we'll see. We'll see if what Goosey has to say. By the way, in the meantime, I want to plug something. Let me see if I can get this up on the Twitter account. And people are tweeting. Oh, people. This is actually what I'm going to talk about. We gave away a Chris Jericho book, a copy of his new book. I just want to bring up the winner and put him on the screen here. His Twitter handle was @WHSIV. His name is Bill. I'll put him up on the screen here so you guys can see. But he won a copy of the new Chris Jericho book. It's called No is a 4-Letter Word, How I Failed Spelling But Succeeded in Life. This is Jericho's 4th book, and I got myself a copy, so I'm going to have to read this one. But I did the forwards by Paul Stanley of Kiss, so I thought that was kind of cool because he's always talked about Kiss in his previous books. I have there's Jericho's other book in the background, so I've read all of his books. I enjoy his writing. But this one's not necessarily all about professional wrestling. I mean, there is some stuff where he talks about wrestling, but a lot of it is kind of like touring. He thinks it's called the Vince McMahon principle, the Keith Richards principle, the Paul Stanley. So it's a if you're into Jericho, you'll probably like it. So congratulations to Bill. He won a free copy tonight on Twitter of No is a 4-Letter Word by Chris Jericho, the 4th book. So congratulations. Good stuff. I was hoping Goosey would give a phone call, but apparently he is not going to call in. So we'll go ahead and flash up on the screen. I think I can change it right there. Okay. 217-909-2447. Or if you happen to have my Skype handle, you can give the show a phone call if you want to talk about TLC tonight, because we covered a decent amount of stuff with Mike. I did want to talk a little bit about Asuka, just because there was obviously a lot of hype around her tonight. She was kind of the focal point of I don't know if she was the selling point of the show, but she definitely was somebody that I think people were looking forward to seeing. So we can talk about that a little bit. I'm actually going to go to Jason Namako. Mr. Namako, sir, how are you? If I got you.
I am good, sir.
So I was going to talk Asuka. What did you think of Asuka tonight? The debut, the big main roster debut.
Well, Emma was certainly ready for Asuka. I don't know if that's the smart way to go, having it be very competitive in her debut on the main roster, but I'm not the person booking the main roster. So I don't know how that it all turns out, but it certainly left me scratching my head like,
why though? Like why did I just did a meme right there? Why though? I'm confused. Why did people want her to beat Emma in like 10 seconds, or I don't
feel like not that quickly, but like,
okay.
The perfect scenario to me, it's like, okay, Emma, again, as Mike brought up, it's like, okay, Emma's been treated as kind of a joke and doing the whole it's all about me stuff and all that. Let her do that cocky stuff early, have them do a little back and forth, and she, getting overconfident with herself, and then Asuka just runs her over and just demolishes her in I would say, like, a 3-minute match. But the fact they kind of kept even, yes, Asuka still won. At the end of the day, she still won the match, and the crowd did pop for it.
I have to say something, and you probably won't like that I said this, but I already think she's better at interacting with the audience than Shinsuke Nakamura is right now on the main roster.
Yeah, because Asuka's definitely definitely has that charisma, and it seems like with Nakamura seems to me, with his stuff on SmackDown, it seems like, okay, I got here, I'm cool with whatever. I'm just here now. I feel like he came from New Japan, he had his fun in NXT, he's now on the main roster. It's like, all right, I'm here, whatever happens, and
he blows through shit. Like, he just, like, there's times where he will slow it down for like a commercial break because he knows the commercial break's coming.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he just blows through. And I don't totally hate the stuff that Nakamura is doing. But like,
right.
I was watching Asuka tonight, and I was like, she's actually looking at the crowd, and she's doing stuff.
She exudes so much personality and charisma in what she does, and the interaction with the audience. And not a lot of that. It was all prevalent in NXT, but I would say a lot of it came from, before the time when she was working in Japan for the Stardom promotion.
Okay.
She was the main fixture over there. She did a lot of, charisma stuff and personality. Like, it wasn't just about what she did in the ring. Like, Stardom's known for being a Joshi, all, serious women's wrestling promotion, but she brought a lot of personality and charisma to that, and that set her apart from everybody else. I feel like that's where a lot of that stuff comes from, and yeah, it shows on the main roster. I just would have liked to see it be a little bit more, the pendulum being swung a little bit more in her favor than what we got. I understand if they think they have something in Emma, maybe show her a little bit and give her some more shine in the match. But if you're building up Asuka's debut for a month and then this is what we get, it's a little hard pill to swallow. But it wasn't. I will say this much: it wasn't as bad of a debut as Nakamura's was against Dolph Ziggler back at Backlash.
I didn't have any problem with it. I'll be honest. Like, I saw people going like, really? And I was like, Jesus, man. Like, I just feel like
I didn't have as big of a problem with it. Like, it was still like, maybe we could have done something differently, but it wasn't like, oh my God, what the hell are they doing kind of thing.
Expectations are so high with this company, with talent that people like her that are obviously have a following, and it's like, whew, like,
those are the same people that probably were upset that Kurt Angle was in the Shield gear instead of his gear. It's like, they're saving that and the entrance for a big deal. So
yeah, you don't want to blow
this
that.
Was a last minute thing. I honestly thought when the Kurt Angle news broke, which of course you and I talked about this off air, the curse of you going away somewhere and big news dropping continues. With the Kurt Angle news and the Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, viral infection, all this craziness. It brought about like Great American Bash 2006 vibes to me when I heard the news go down. It with the elevated liver enzymes when that happened on that show many years ago.
Yeah.
But when I heard that Kurt was getting put in the match with Seth and Dean, I was like, I feel like this is a bait and switch to get Jason Jordan in there because they obviously still want to push him as Kurt's son and still have him on there. They've kind of scaled back on him in recent weeks, but I felt like, okay, this was going to be their thing to launch him back into doing something. And while I like that he's in a program right now with Elias and I feel like it's going to be a program to help both guys, that was my initial thinking. Now what they went with Kurt, he looked good, and they protected him very well in the match by having him go out for the Strowman power slam for the table and then come back to Spirit of the 76 like a house of fire. He looked very good, and obviously we're going to see some sort of big singles match for him. I'm assuming at WrestleMania. I don't think it comes as soon as Survivor Series. Like some people were thinking, like, oh, maybe they were going to do it Survivor Series. Oh.
I would hope so. I'm trying to take a call, and I don't know why. I think I got the call. Area code 313. Who is this, and what do you got for us?
Hey, this is Jamel calling in.
Hey, Jamel.
Thoughts on the show.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Overall, I thought it was good. I thought the main event it got sloppy for a little bit, after Kurt went away, and then they did all that stuff at the stage. But once Kurt came back, it was fun. Did a bunch of suplexes. That was awesome, and he looked, Dad looked hyper, and he looked excited, so it was good. The Asuka stuff, better than Nakamura's debut because, she wasn't facing Dolph Ziggler because he debuted poison. He killed.
I love that.
He killed.
That's great.
Baron Corbin's debut last year.
Yeah.
Killed Nakamura's debut earlier this year, and he's killing Bobby Roode's debut this year. So the sooner they get away from him, the better. And then,
oh boy, it's a hot take right there from
maybe it's true though. Like Dolph Ziggler. Shawn Michaels.
I have one statement about Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler will be a great participant in the 2018 Pro Wrestling Guerrilla Battle Los Angeles tournament because that's where he'll be next year. He will not be in this.
How long is his deal though? I thought he just renewed, so he's going to be around for a while.
I think he said he renewed in 2015.
Oh, so maybe it's okay.
So maybe it's coming up.
Hopefully it ends sooner because I'm tired of seeing Dolph Ziggler. Like they keep trying to make him a thing, and for some reason they need to just move on, but. overall, the night was good. The cruiserweight stuff was forgettable. Kalisto is like Rey Mysterio minus the charisma and entertainment factor. The kickoff match with Alicia and Sasha was cool, and other than that, you know, I did like Jason Jordan just being an asshole and just throwing produce and stuff at Elias. That was probably the best part of all of their stuff. The match they could have just left without. But as far as who could have replaced Kurt, maybe they could have brought in an Uso or two. Maybe they could have brought in Randy Orton. But like y'all were saying, it's kind of an indictment on WWE as a company and building up talent that they don't have anybody else that could have been slid in to take place of Roman.
No, it's a good point. And Mike made the good point earlier that it's like, you know, Randy Orton's not going to get coverage by USA. Not that like you desperately need the media coverage, because this isn't, you know, a throwaway October pay-per-view, but it definitely improved interest in the show to have Kurt in there, because that was just totally out of nowhere. So I'm going to let you guys go. I know other people are calling, but I'm a big fan of all the stuff that you guys do, you know, listening, watching on YouTube. So keep up the great work. Awesome, man. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support. Let's stick with the phone lines. I believe we got area code 218. Is this Goosey?
Well, pull my prick out after you give me fake numbers. I finally called.
I fucked up, man. We used to have a Wrestleview radio line, and I looked in my phone book and I gave you that, and then I'm like, oh no, I gave you the wrong number. So I've had a lot of Skype numbers, as you could tell. But so what was it like seeing old Kurt return in person tonight in Minnesota?
It was pretty. I'll tell you, it was a pretty fun atmosphere live. I think Kurt can wrestle in bits and stretches. They use them fairly perfectly, in my opinion, tonight. But, I mean, the rest of the show wasn't much to it, you know. Like, I liked it, but, you know, I didn't. I have to say, part of me, and I know I come off, like, on the Facebook group as an internet mark, but trust me, these fucking people... You brought it up on Twitter, Adam. I was scamming Twitter at one point in the snack line during a couple matches, and these fucking people, Bullet Club shirts and fucking 10 counts, and
it's popular, man.
Too sweet, and oh my god.
Well, I questioned tonight on Twitter, and I wasn't trying to be a dick when I said this. It was an honest like observation with like, you're wearing the cease and desist shirt, which is cool. Like if you wanted to buy that, that's cool. But you're wearing the cease and desist shirt inside a arena that WWE is running a show at that you bought a ticket to. So you're
they think that's them sending a message, but in a way, it's really just hypocritical.
Well, it's like you're I don't know. It was just because you know that ticket wasn't cheap where that guy was sitting. So it's like okay, I guess we're gonna. I mean, I get it. But at
the end, I will say at least. Yes, it is hypocritical, but at the same time, that just shows how much that whole thing has gone just out, you know, just its own little realm into the mainstream.
Well, when Goosey said that there was like people wearing Cody Rhodes shirts, I was like, really? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there was multiple Cody Rhodes shirts.
That is all due. That's all due to the Hot Topic deal that they signed earlier in the year.
Yeah, and
the fact that those shirts, and they're starting to get even not just the Bullet Club shirts, they're starting to get New Japan shirts into Hot Topic stores, and even the other big group over in Japan, Los Ingobernables de Japón, the group led by Tetsuya Naito. Those shirts are starting to hit Hot Topic stores. So it's not just a Bullet Club thing.
But it's impressive. I mean, like I said, I was in Chicago and I saw fucking Bullet Club shirts at a Hot Topic. So I was like, holy shit.
The fact that Pro Wrestling Tees now out in Chicago now has their own store. It once was just its own website where you could purchase. Now they have their own retail store out in Chicago that they just opened.
I saw that. Yeah, it's impressive. So, I guess Goosey too. I was surprised you bought a ticket to the show because this was even before the Kurt Angle stuff. So I thought you were kind of like, I don't know, just was it didn't have much to do this week? Because you just seemed very down on the product when I see you talk about it on our Facebook group.
You know, I was, but I still like to go every time they come near me because, you know, it's the child in me still loves wrestling, you know, and I want to see it get better. So I like to go, and it gets me out of the house, and, you know, I get to go suspend my reality for a couple hours. And I tried my hardest tonight. There were some points where I'm just like, this is fucking dumb. I'm going to take a piss. or going to get a pretzel with cheese.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm here to have fun.
Which is, that's what you should do when you go to wrestling shows. You shouldn't take it too seriously, but so
but then the tickets I got were like $25.
Okay, so you were pretty. Yeah. So was there a good walk up? Because I read that maybe it wasn't quite sold out, but it looked like it was packed to the rafters from some of the camera shots.
Well, it was really packed. Well, there was a lot of open area on the other side of the camera. I probably should have taken a picture, but didn't think. Where the cameras are, that whole middle section was completely
which it usually
black.
is,
but then it was mostly filled in the other sections off camera. I know we were in line at about 5:45, and it was about a 3-mile line to get into the Target Center here. So
wow,
yeah.
Well, they were
a lot of people.
They were telling all night on commentary that they had 13,982. Which apparently the Target Center capacity is near 20,000, so that would be about 2/3.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
about 2/3 of it. So that makes a lot of
sense.
If there was a lot of sections tarped off, that would make a lot of sense than that number.
Yeah, there was actually the whole right end of the arena where the stage was. That whole area was tarped off, so you really couldn't.
Yeah. That would make sense in that number. That would definitely make sense. But that's still a good number for a pay-per-view compared to what they've had recently. Their attendance has not been good whatsoever.
Well, I wouldn't say it's bad because when you look at the numbers, they're not. That's a little overblown, I think, when I see some people, have doom and gloom articles. It's like, really? Okay.
I ain't doom and gloom, but it's definitely
not good. Well, when they're showing pictures of 3,000 people at a Ring of Honor show, that's cool, but stop it. Calm down. I'm proud of Ring of Honor. I'm really happy Ring of Honor has been successful, but don't use the catalyst of Ring of Honor drawing good crowds and then comparing it to it's just stop it.
No.
Drives me nuts when people do that.
I mean, it's good for Ring of Honor.
It's good for Ring of Honor, but that's in
the overall picture. It's still
that's what the internet loves to do though. Is just it's just wow, stop it.
Right.
So
I'll tell you this: a lot of the crowd left disappointed.
Why is that?
And I agree with them. I think Brock Lesnar should have been there tonight. He should have. They should have had him. I think they should have had him answer Mahal's challenge tonight.
Could have.
I mean, it's Minneapolis. I mean, a lot of people went there. People were saying they went there to see Brock, thinking Brock was going to be there.
Okay, so here's my other question: If he was never part of the advertising, and you bought a ticket expecting to see him, but there was no promise of him showing up, is that WWE's fault or is that your fault for buying a ticket? You know what I'm saying?
It's not really. It's not that. I think a lot of it was Mahal made the challenge on Tuesday.
Yeah. And
they didn't announce that he was going to be there. He was going to be at Raw. It didn't start advertising until Sunday afternoon, or not Sunday, Saturday afternoon. And so a lot of people probably didn't check internet. And didn't realize that Brock wasn't going to be there. People went in with the expectation, thinking Brock. And it makes sense. They're in his own hometown. He's from South Dakota, but
Well, now he's Canadian. He lives in Canada now. He's actually he
lives in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, he flies the Canadian flag. When he last fought in the UFC, he was wearing the Canadian flag. But no, it does make. No, you're right though. If you're going to do that, I don't know why. I mean, granted, you have to have something big for Raw. So I get it. So maybe that's why they didn't want to justify sticking him out there on a pay-per-view when they want to save him for Raw and Green Bay tomorrow. But yeah, I could see that. But at the same time, it's like, man, if he wasn't on the card or advertised, you can't get that. To me, it's like Kurt Angle fucking had a match tonight when he wasn't supposed to. It's like you gotta. It's wrestling fans. It's hard to please everybody.
Yeah. I will say Kurt doing the Roman powerbomb and wearing the Roman vest was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it was cool to see. It was cool to see.
It was a W2K18 community creation come to life.
It was very weird. It was very weird to see him in that gear, but I don't know. I just this whole
I didn't
show.
I didn't want to see him in a singlet. So
well, yeah, a lot of people maybe did, but it was just this whole show was not I get the Brock thing because it's Minneapolis, but it's like. He wasn't part of the advertising, so you can't get super pissed about it. Anything else?
It sucked though because they were selling Suplex City Minneapolis shirts.
Oh, well, that's kind of weird. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, that's a bad move. That's not cool.
Yeah.
Was there anything on the show that maybe caught your eye, or maybe something we wouldn't have seen watching it on the network or anything like that?
Oh, like the main event was fun. I'll tell you, they're really fucking cruiserweights down the crowd's throat. Like right before Kendrick's music hit, they're screaming in the microphone, "Stand up and cheer for the cruiserweights!"
Ooh.
Like we're at some football game telling. And that literally, I sat there and I watched half the crowd walk into the fucking lobby.
Wait, wait, someone stood up and said cheer for the cruiserweights or what?
They said it during they have the announcer. He's like, "Stand up! It's time to cheer for the cruiserweights."
Oh no!
Cruiserweight action.
That's treated like a circus act.
Yeah, that's
like,
not good.
Man,
they know.
Like, here
they're
comes
really
the
fucking.
They know.
They're really jamming this down our fucking throat. I mean, Enzo Amore's got a great character.
Yeah.
And Kalisto switching his music back, thinking that would pop the crowd, and it didn't. And
no, that's.
I had a 7-year-old kid sitting right in front of me. He looked at his dad. He's like, "What the fuck is this?"
Like, and I feel bad for those 4 guys in that tag match because they're all pretty good. Jack Gallagher's been great since the heel turn. I really like Kindred stuff. Rich Swann is a fountain of charisma that they still really haven't tapped into, even though they put the title on him late last year. Cedric he's solid, but he doesn't really have a lot of charisma, and you know I don't know why they think Kalisto's the top draw and babyface for that.
Well, I felt bad for him when he was the big surprise, and the crowd was like, "Oh, cool!"
Yeah,
awesome.
They hyped that up, and everybody's thinking, "Oh, they're gonna bring up someone from NXT to be the new cruiserweight, like I don't know, like a Roderick Strong or Johnny Gargano or something like that." Nope, it's Kalisto. Recycle that.
Well,
that is fatal.
205 Live has 2 characters. They have Enzo and Gallagher, and now Gallagher's some fake British tough guy, which they've completely missed the boat on. They should have just kept him as the quirky Englishman. But I mean, Aria Davari, Drew Gulak, what did he put? Donald Trump?
Drew Gulak's campaign for a better 205 Live with PowerPoint presentation.
That's a start. It's just there's a lot, but I would say there's more people that are vanilla than have a character.
Oh, Tony Nese is totally vanilla. Hey, look at my abs.
Mustafa Ali wears a weird outfit and flips around. It's like what? Why? It's just it's not good.
He's their answer to Sanjay.
That's why I was saying Enzo Amore for the first time made me even making fun of these guys. I started to actually care a little bit about them because for a while it was just like, oh, here's a cruiserweight match and they're gonna have a match and it's Raw and they have a division and
it's also just such a ceiling to it, and that's why somebody again, it's nothing's confirmed or whatever, but
it's not good. It's not good.
Neville,
not fun. So outside of
another little tidbit here. Elias Sampson's mic. By the way, Jason Jordan throwing vegetables had me just about pissing my pants laughing. But Elias Sampson's mic live is fucking dog shit.
Really?
It's so mumbled. It's like walk with a law. Like Darth Vader fucking trying to talk to you.
So maybe they need to reevaluate that. That's not good.
Yeah,
that's a bummer.
No.
So overall, though, did you enjoy getting a ticket to? I know you didn't. You said you got a cheaper ticket, but was it worth your time to go to it tonight?
Yeah, it was worth the time.
I don't know.
Like I said, there were a lot of times. I mean, even during the main event, where I thought about just leaving because it was I was wondering what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Mickie James retiring was kind of a shock.
She didn't retire, Goosey. She just said she was.
She didn't?
No, she didn't retire.
No.
I saw I was like, no.
It came across live like she was. It sounded
like she. Yeah, she didn't retire. No, but it sounded like it. But.
Oh. But I mean, the main event was fun. I was really thinking Braun Strowman was gonna come back and fucking open the fucking garbage thing with his hands and fucking beat the shit out of everybody. But I mean, other than that, really no complaints.
Okay, well, so you had a good time. That's good. At least you had a good time. That's all that matters, right? When you buy tickets. So
yeah, right.
Well, Goosey, thanks for taking the time to give us a phone call. Glad you had a.
I thought it was the match of the night. It really did.
What was the match?
I'm a big Balor guy, and I wanted to see that match, and No,
Oh, okay.
I'm not an internet mark who loves the too sweet shit, you know. But I wanted to
But you
see
liked it. It was
that
good.
type of match.
Yeah. So AJ and Finn was match of the night for you by far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, not by far. I think the main event, you know, almost beat it, but the rest of the show was pretty much forgetful for me. So.
It's October.
I mean, other than Jason
throwing fruit. That always works. All right, Goosey. You're starting to break up on us, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But we'll
yeah, I think I'm getting into a bad cell service.
Okay. There you're back. We got you back, Vince. Okay. Thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it.
I'll let you go.
All right.
Yes.
That is Goosey, live in Minnesota, leaving TLC. We got another phone call on the line, area code 239. Who is this and what do you got for us?
Hey, it's Brian Farmer.
Oh, Mr. Farmer. How are you, sir?
Farmer.
How you guys doing?
Good. I haven't had you call into one of these things in a long time. You used, for those unfamiliar, Brian used to host, was it Wrestleview Back Talk, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you, I don't remember the platform you used, but what was it? Was the name of the program
Neither
back?
do I.
Okay. I couldn't remember, but you used to come on after pay-per-views and do kind of the same thing we're doing right now. And that was back like when I did Wrestling News Live, so I'd jump on, talk the pay-per-view with you for about 20 minutes. I'd jump on Wrestling News Live, talk for like an hour, and then it'd always be long nights for pay-per-views. But and Brian has a long history with Wrestling.
Good times.
Brian made the previous version of the Wrestleview logo, not the one we're using now, but the previous one. So a lot of history Brian has with the website. So how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Not bad at all. How are y'all?
Pretty good. We're just trying to where most people seem to have, and now the poll I'll put back up on the screen. Most people had a pretty positive reaction to the show on Twitter, but the general reaction was like, it's all right, like nothing outstanding, but just an average show from WWE tonight.
Yeah, well, I'd say average, maybe at best. I mean, it felt like a disaster on my end. I'll just say that.
A
I mean,
disaster.
The
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's a strong word, sir. A disaster.
Well, I mean, you looking down the card, I mean, you've got Asuka is one of the big draws.
Wow.
You put her in a 10, 15-minute match with somebody who is a joke character.
Wouldn't call her draw yet. She just
doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Is she a draw before she gets to the main roster, or would you consider NXT tickets as part of that, possibly?
I think, they spent the time hyping her up, which, is probably, it's a good idea. I mean, her reputation precedes her by this point, even if you're a casual fan. But I mean, getting to this, though, you talked about unrealistic expectations. I think we have a case here where, and I'm not saying this to blame anybody, but Balor largely ruined this for a lot of people. I mean, when you come in and you have just this huge debut, you beat the guy that everybody is getting crammed down their throats, then you win your championship match the first time. Everybody expects that now out of big debuts, So, I mean, when you have a case where a Nakamura comes in, loses twice to Jinder Mahal, in, decent matches, but still, people are disappointed, because you set the bar that high. It's very much like about 10 years ago in the NFL, Matt Ryan and whoever the loser is at the Baltimore Ravens, they came in, they went to the playoffs their first year, and that set the bar for everybody. And so now you have a quarterback who's half decent as a rookie. Everybody's disappointed, and they're a bust, and they're out of a job.
Okay.
So, I mean, just the expectations seem, high because, I mean, you set the bar high, but you can't do that for everybody. So, I mean... Yeah, I know. I see your point. I fix that, but
I guess... So I think, and maybe Jason will disagree with me when I say this, but a lot of people do not watch NXT, even though it is one of the most popular shows on the network. I wouldn't say there's an avid, huge audience watching that show every Wednesday. Not everyone's watching the TakeOver specials.
The same amount of people watching NXT are probably like the third that are watching Raw. So there's definitely a discrepancy.
Which I get. Like I get what you're saying. Like you hype up a debut, but the thing is, like, I think people would have been even more pissed off if like she lost, like what if they'd had Emma beat her? Right. Like people would have lost their shit. So it's like, she didn't lose tonight. Yes, the match went like almost 10 minutes, but like, I don't know. Like I just sometimes feel like wrestling fans, like if it doesn't go down the way they book it in their head, then it's bad. And I just like, well, it's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I thought she looked.
I didn't think it was a bad match either. Is the thing.
If anything, to me,
it's just,
you brought up Nakamura.
So little.
Well, first of all, you brought up Nakamura on how you've been kind of underwhelmed with that stuff. If anything, it showed me how much better. And I was saying this to Jason earlier, how much better she is with interacting with the crowd. So if anything, her going longer for 10 minutes was like, it almost exposed Shinsuke a little bit, which is not a good thing for them.
It did. It definitely did from the charisma end. And in terms of this current run, it definitely did. Yeah.
Not good. So that was
I've seen very little of Asuka. I mean, I've tuned into a couple of NXT matches that were particularly, supposed to be great. And the one thing I notice, about her is what you guys are saying, is that she knows how to play to a crowd in such a way that it transcends whatever language barrier might be there. I mean, natural charisma will come through if you are properly making contact with a crowd. Asuka does that and does it very, very well. The Shinsuke not so much, it doesn't seem like.
No.
It's almost as if he's depending on his reputation.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a different world here in the United States than it is in Japan. So I don't know what to make of that, except there's room for improvement.
I think a lot of the time Shinsuke is just in lazy mode, honestly.
He just blows through shit. Like,
I'm just coming out here, I'm going for the motions.
It's frustrating because, like, I see a ton of potential with that guy. Like, I don't think he sucks by any means. And it's almost like borderline frustrating where you can see someone who's talented, who has different aspects that he can bring to the table to really make himself stand out from people on the roster. Because you really do need to do that right now with so many people on the roster. But then when he just, like, blows through shit, you're like, well, what? Like, slow it down a little bit. Like I'm just taking in the shit you're doing, and then you're already on like step 12 when I'm just taking in step 2 and 3, and it's just, it's a little bit much.
I'll say right now, I think Asuka's an overall better performer than Nakamura. Like right now, I think she's a better overall performer. She seems to
have slid into this WWE style or presentation or whatever you want to call it a lot faster.
Charisma. Like, even the promos that she's done mixing the English and the Japanese.
Yeah.
And the in-ring ability, which just comes off as just killer.
It's a lot better.
Like, if she grabs you, you're screwed. Yeah. Like that's what they've built her up. I use this analogy on my own podcast many a time. They built her up like she's the female Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, which is good.
Who can beat her? Like, nobody. That's why she went to the main roster, not losing the NXT Women's title. Like, they built her up. She won the title and she never lost it. And now they have to do a series of matches to determine a new champion because none of those other girls could beat her.
That's a good point.
So it's very smart.
Jamel in the chat said Asuka knows how to connect with the crowd. Nakamura seems to sleepwalk through his shit, and that is what is dragging down the most. So it's like,
that gets into the laziness. Yeah, for sure. He definitely,
it's a little lazy.
He definitely seems to sleepwalk. Yeah.
Mr. Farmer, you tweeted something else to me. I'm trying to remember what you said. I don't know if it was about AJ, and it might have been about AJ. No, you were talking about. So. Well, it was that too, but you were also curious about no separate entrance for Kurt. But I think you also said like, why don't we save that for the big,
it was more. I wasn't really curious. It was just, it was a little disappointing, but I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, why blow? Let's just call it like it is. Why blow Kurt Angle on a gimmick pay-per-view like this? I mean, you had to be desperate. You had to be hard up. So I mean, it's a little disappointing. And a little background on this is my brother is like the biggest Kurt Angle fan in the world.
Okay.
So. He's been going nuts all day today. So, and then dude comes out in the in the vest in the crowd, which I thought was actually kind of cool. You give him the vest, put him in the Shield. All right, you're part of the team. But I mean, it's a little disappointing, but at the same time, you understand it because I mean, you don't blow something like that with a Hall of Famer on TLC.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like a test run for Kurt to see, okay, are you really ready for this.
Which isn't bad because
You know, I mean-
imagine if they did this at WrestleMania and it doesn't go well, so like
Yeah.
so maybe this and I think Mike made that, and I keep regurgitating his point, but I want to give him credit that he made the good point that, well, if you stick somebody else in there, no one's really going to give a shit. So Kurt had more impact tonight than your average SmackDown or Raw guy.
The thing we're seeing is that he's still in 10 to 15 minute ring shape matches.
True.
Because they took him out midway through, and like he had about 10 minutes total ring time, and that's about like when he left TNA and was doing a quick little indie run before the Hall of Fame.
He would get sweaty and red. I remember in TNA where he would just like there would be about 3 or 4 minutes of like real fast paced stuff, and then they would slow it down, headlock, side headlock stuff. But if he gets himself in good
all
cardio
his
shape,
matches on like when he had that run out for Northeast Wrestling, as you mentioned earlier, but now in the UK for Revolution Pro and a couple other places, most of those matches went 10, 15 minutes. He did not go like the super long Kurt Angle match you're used to seeing. He kind of it was all sprints, because obviously he's older and obviously banged up from all the injuries, so there's obviously only so much he can do, and they obviously saw that and used that to protect him in the match tonight, which was smart.
Sure.
It was smart.
Yeah, it was very smart. I love the way they handled it. I mean, you're not going to get a 30-minute classic out of Kurt Angle anymore.
Not anymore, no.
It's 48, man.
But you can hit the high spots, you can do the fun stuff, and have a good.
With 6 or 7 neck surgeries too.
Yeah, he's still really banged up. So I mean, obviously, this is. I like what you said though. You described it as a test run, and I think that's kind of what we saw tonight. And maybe they'll be more comfortable of building something up for WrestleMania. I'd be cool with that. Just maybe one more match and call it a day and. Just another attraction, because that's what that show is. It's just an attraction show. So they definitely
need them this year.
They definitely
need them this year. So
well, Mr. Farmer, we got a couple more people calling in, so I'm going to let you go. But thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
All right, have a good one.
All right,
hey, Brian.
That is Mr. Brian Farmer, good dude. Haven't talked to him in a while, so it's good to hear from him. We got another call coming in.
I've never talked to him yet.
Well, there you go. First time for you. Area code 347. Who is this, and what do you got for us?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Oh, it's Mr. CJ Bowman. How are you, sir?
Getting ready for work and responsibilities and stuff, but put on the show on the big screen.
Oh, nice.
So I decided, hey,
my big pumpkin head's on the big screen. That's nice.
Yeah. So
what'd you think of the show tonight, Kurt Angle?
I actually thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, I watched in the pre-show, so I was watching a couple of the pre-show matches and things like that. I mean, I still laugh at the fact that Sasha Banks got relegated to the pre-show, and I kind of like, I feel good about that because, she's not, I don't think that she's there anymore or has even gotten there. I think they just put her there, and then it was just like a mess. Hey, well, she's just a mess in general.
Well, maybe you shouldn't come out in public and say you don't like to interact with your fans.
Is that what that is there backlash to that?
That's why I feel like the sudden, she said that around SummerSlam weekend, and what happened after they. Well,
I saw now granted, I mean, and CJ knows this being in Brooklyn, like there's just hordes of people that gather around like hotels and they just yeah, it's too much. And I saw a video of her and her husband who works in the WWE like getting booed walking across the street because she wouldn't stop and take photos and sign autographs and stuff. So like in that respect, it's like, well, if you stop and do that, you're going to have to do that for like an hour because then more people could show up. And I get it. But I saw that, and then I didn't dive too deep into it, but I didn't know is that becoming a thing now of people are just pissed at her and there's a revolt against the character? Or
I think it was more the fact that she said it publicly in an interview. I don't think if that was her private opinion or whatever, that's fine. But I feel like the fact that she said it outright during that SummerSlam weekend and the interview she did with Sam Roberts and the attention that quote got, I feel like that had something to do with it.
Oh, she said it was Sam Roberts.
I mean, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go for it, CJ.
Yeah, a lot of it was, if you remember back in the early 2000s when Funtime USA, now that's also in Brooklyn too. Brock Lesnar was kind of an asshole, and that was literally the end of like Funtime USA signings. So that used to happen at least once or twice, like about 6 times a year. Like, wrestlers used to come to Funtime USA. Remember the Crash Holly? They had the whole Mean Street Posse versus Crash Holly thing at Funtime at that down in Sheepshead Bay. Yeah, when Brock Lesnar did that. So
they have signs over here where I live in New Jersey. There's a place called Adventureland. Out in Voorhees in New Jersey, and they have a bunch of signings. And they had her, I think, a couple months ago. And from people I know that went there, they did not have a good time there. Meeting her. So
you look at Sasha, and it's like, yo, it's the whole Brock Lesnar thing all over again. Now I understand. Adam makes a really good point, because me knowing Brooklyn, I'll give you an idea. If you're at Atlantic Terminal, which is like Atlantic and Flatbush Avenue by the Barclays Center, that's a lot of foot traffic, because people's coming in from Long Island, people's coming in from the city, they coming in like, big Targets over there. This is a big Target, Best Buy's over there, Modell's across the street, all of that. Like, you see that stuff when they do a flyover of the Barclays. You see that intersection right there. It's a really busy intersection. And that's a bad idea to do that. So the fans are kind of dumb for that.
Yeah,
those fans for sure. Yeah, those ones. Those fans that did the booing and all that. Yeah, they're not right.
It's just rude.
Two rights don't make a U-turn either.
It's just rude, and like I get where she's coming from, and I've seen. I've seen people like post videos of them like stalking wrestlers at airports, and then like telling the wrestler like. And you know what they're doing? They're getting the autograph to sell it, and then the wrestler finds out.
Zack Ryder had a thing where like he put a tweet like, "Oh, I just signed this for this fan 6 hours ago, and he's already putting it on eBay." And he put like the eBay link or whatever.
I saw that. So she's not entirely wrong, but I'm curious, if that really is.
I think it was just her publicly saying that. It's like, it's one thing for you to have that feeling.
She stinks
as like to interact with fans, but don't say it in such a mainstream public forum. Like,
she stinks. I think she stinks as a babyface anyway. I'm not a big fan of the character anyway. But so outside of I'm with you with Sasha. I could sit here and have fun with that for a couple hours. But outside of that was so Goosey was mentioning being at the arena, seeing some of the reactions, and there was, the Brock Lesnar thing, which he wasn't advertised, so people can't get too pissed about that. But the Kurt Angle thing was pretty much I guess were you up in the hoopla with Finn and AJ, or did that intrigue you at all, or was it more Kurt Angle all the way?
I'll be honest with you, I was on the line, like, it was literally myself, Josh Piedra, and Carl and Mace. Just all watching the show. We do that we watch the show every time the pay-per-view comes around. So, we're there. We're excited. Plus, we were also watching the Patriots game at the same time. So, the attention was split. We were excited about the AJ stuff, the AJ and Finn stuff. Like, it was a really good match, because apparently it's never happened before. Like, that match has never happened before, which shocks me. I'm like, dude, like, AJ's been in Japan for God knows how long. Like, Balor's been there too, and like, he's never met. Like, that's insane. So the match was actually pretty legit. Like, we enjoyed that one. And then, like, we get to the main event, and then as soon as Kurt Angle takes the bump and the refs and the medical personnel take him out, like, we started tuning out, and it was just like, this match is boring.
It did drag. Yeah, you're right. It did drag.
Good Jesus Christ. Like, really, it was just like slow and plodding. Yeah. And then Angle comes out, starts throwing angle slams all over the place, and it's like, okay, the match is actually a little better now. Like, that match was kind of a bore fest. It really was.
Braun,
without Angle,
the Braun stuff, like the track, I was like, this is weird with the garbage truck, and I know they're trying to build Kane and Braun, but I'm with you. It started really hot. It really, really slowed down in the middle, and then it picked up again. But
the one thing I will say
about the thing, though. I wanted to ask a quick question, though, because... Go ahead,
CJ.
Fox News.
The question I wanted to ask was, isn't he still running for Knox County mayor? So if he does win that election, wouldn't that kind of put those plans in hold, because election day is in less than 2 weeks?
You would think so. I kind of thought it was a one-off, so maybe it isn't, or they're going to do something. I got the impression it was a one-off.
I thought it was for next year. I didn't think the election was for this year. I thought it was for 2018.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, if it was for this year, then like that wouldn't make sense. Now, if it's for next year, then okay, you'll go full steam ahead. You could have gone full steam ahead like ages ago. Like, you could have brought him back a while ago. But
So
it really depends. It's kind of like what they did with Rhino, where they were just like, holding pattern with him until they knew the results of that election.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Michigan, yeah.
So I'm on the website. It doesn't specify when the actual mayor
election
runs.
Yeah.
It just has information about him and his family. It's hilarious to see him like smile posing. It's very
Glenn the libertarian.
Yeah, well, no, I've always known his like libertarian values, and I've listened to him talk about politics, and he's incredibly smart. But it is weird to just see him like with the smiling family, and I love the flame that he worked into the Glenn Jacobs logo. But I guess if there's a way to find out, it's jacobsformayor.com.
One thing I will say about the matches and the build up too. Obviously before Roman got pulled from the show with the infection and whatnot, I felt that the reuniting of the Shield was done really well, and ever since they've done that, the one thing I've really noticed is how much it has reinvigorated Dean Ambrose. Yeah. Because for the last few months, he is just. Well, you want to talk about Nakamura sleepwalking? Dean Ambrose has been sleepwalking for about a year plus, ever since Stone Cold
John Cena called him out.
Well, ever since Boston called him out on that podcast. Ever since then, he's been sleepwalking through all his stuff. And it started to change when they put him back with Seth as the tag team. But really, when they reunited the Shield, like the last couple of weeks, it's like, okay, this is the Ambrose that everybody loved and everybody wanted to see at the top of the card. It's also done really well for Seth too. It's really done well for him.
It's a really good point about Dean.
And that's the thing.
Yeah, go for it.
That's the thing, because I'll be honest with you, and I'm sorry for interrupting. My bad. I look at Dean. Austin calls him out. Cena calls him out. I mean, and he's still doing the thing. I kind of like bring him back into that kind of like invigorated motion where it's like, yo, I'm back doing what I like to do. This is me. This is everything that I like to do. But I wanted to go back also two things. One, the mayoral race is for 2018, so we don't got to worry about that.
We got some time.
And two, the thing about Nakamura, like I feel, and it's a really good point about Nakamura sleepwalking. I think he's trying too hard to focus on his English speaking skills as opposed to what he can do. So he wants to be able to cut the promos and all that stuff like he did in Japan. As Asuka, she's learning English and she's working on it. You hear the English going on and whatnot, but she's still kind of like, I can interact with the crowd. She's taken after like the Kevin Owens of the world and all of those guys, those guys and gals that actually muck to the crowd.
That's a good point.
So like what you're saying is like Asuka's taking at like 60-40 in terms of like the charisma and the wrestling aspect compared to the promos, whereas Nakamura is like 80-20.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's a valid point, and it's. Again, I feel like maybe I'm being a dick by, giving her such high, that was her first main roster match, but it did blow me away. And I don't know why. I was going like, wow, she's just doing really good interacting with the crowd, and Nakamura could like watch that and just pick up some stuff and maybe kind of correct it a little bit there. But it's all valid points all around there. CJ, do you got anything else, or we're going to move on, sir?
The only other thing is, man, Jason Jordan showed the most charisma tonight that he showed ever.
He's getting better.
I don't know if that's a good. The
internet hates him
or a bad proclamation.
It's hilarious.
That's a good one.
It's hilarious. A good one. Isn't it funny how high the internet was on the American Alpha, and as soon as they took Jason out of that and put him, they're like, they just fucking hate him now, and it's just like. I get it.
I think that tag team was like, Jason Jordan's nice, but Chad Cable's like the star of the team.
No, I get it. It's
not that. It's not that. It's honestly the whole Kurt Angle storyline. People think this shit is dumb.
No, so I agree. And they've kind of, it's there, but yeah, it's not getting the attention I think they wanted it, and it's still developing, I think. So, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. Well, thanks for the phone call, CJ, man. We appreciate it.
No problem. Enjoy your night.
All right, we're going to do one more phone call. We're getting a lot of phone calls tonight, Jason. This is nice.
Awesome. Hey, it's open phone lines.
Open phone lines. Let's do area code 810. We'll close with you. Who is this and what do you got for us?
Hi, Adam. It's Walkie.
Oh, Walkie Walkerson. I was like, who is this? I was like,
wait. Who the hell is this?
That was an intimidating way to call the show. So what's going on, Walkie?
How's it going, guys?
We're good. We're
Oh, we're
talking.
doing good, man.
We're talking TLC. We've been all over the place, but that's everyone's.
I've been listening to your conversation about that. I will gotta say I did watch some of the pay-per-view tonight.
Mhm.
Obviously, I was quite busy with watching the other shows. I was on Sunday at night, Star Trek Discovery.
Okay.
However, I do want to say that from what I saw, I did see the main event, and I just kind of echo what a lot of people have said in the call so far. Was the main event was insane, but rather entertaining sort of main event. In reality, I was kind of wondering how Kurt Angle was going to do, being in the short notice and how that all worked out so far. And I thought it was pretty interesting, to say the least. So
I think that was the draw.
Was quite fun for what it was.
I think that was the draw. Was we haven't now? I know some people got mad when they said, "Well, Kurt's had matches recently, but he hadn't had a match in the WWE for 11 years." So there was some. I think there was enough intrigue there because not everyone was watching Kurt Angle versus Cody Rhodes for Northeast, wherever it was, and Revolution Pro. Like a lot of people, I didn't watch those matches, so
Right.
I was.
Neither did I, and I'm the indie.
I know that's
the guy, and I didn't watch those matches.
I think the last match I saw of his was his last little TNA tour when he called it a day, and then he was
with Rude and Lashley and all that. Yeah,
that was the last I'd seen of him in the ring. So that I was very intrigued, and it was obviously very last minute, but Walkie makes the point that I think a lot of people were. It got national headlines. It was all over sports media this weekend. I saw it in I can't even believe people still read newspapers, but when I was in Chicago, I saw newspapers with Kurt Angle on there, and so it got a lot of attention.
He's still got a name from that gold medal.
He does.
Even
he
really 21
does.
years old. That's why it got as much attention as it did.
He really
because
does.
He still has that name value.
And you were just saying, Walkie, that you had rather watched another show tonight, but that was enough to get you to tune in and watch it live. So does that make you want to watch Raw? Does it make you want to keep up with what's going on, or was that just enough to fulfill the nostalgia fix tonight?
I'm kind of like you when it comes to the fact when it comes to Raw. I mostly catch what's the YouTube's put up as far as the updates. I mean, I could probably check it out to see what's going on. I mean, it's not like back in the day where I have to see Raw or something like that. I think that need's kind of gone as far as I'm concerned, but I still do follow it. I mean, I'll catch the updates on YouTube or something like that because I have to go to work when Raw's on. So, I mean, it's just not that big thing because I know that Kurt, it's not the young, sprawly, jumping off the steel cage Kurt Angle that we see before in the past. He's not going to wrestle every day. So, it was nice for a one-off for what we saw. And if he doesn't like again or something like that, I consider Kurt to be a special attraction if he wrestles again.
And they may do it again. And Brian made the point that tonight may have been a test.
And it's funny how like they kind of just in a way that obviously they didn't mean to, they got themselves promotion for the new video game.
Yeah.
Because he's the pre-order bonus. It just like
it worked.
It fell into their lap because remember they obviously did that last year with Goldberg. That was the sole reason why they brought him back in was because he was the pre-order bonus for the video game.
That it was Sting and so I mean
it's funny how they fell in the lap. The big takeaway for me is, and he mentioned this on Twitter, is Kurt Angle. All those net surgeries, didn't know if he could pass the physical, and he shows up in the ring tonight.
Yeah.
Somebody else mentioned this and was like, so you're saying there's a chance, and that would be one Daniel Bryan.
It's definitely a possibility. I know he's been.
Now, with this whole thing that's happened over the last 48 to 72 hours, now it kind of raises the eyebrows and opens up the questions like, well, if Kurt Angle has all these net surgeries and they let him complete in not just a main event, a tables, ladders, and chairs match.
Big bumps. Dangerous bumps. Yeah, that's a very good point.
It's like, well, what's the deal now with Bryan? And
we'll see.
Especially with the fact that his contract's coming up next year, and Ring of Honor seems just is with open arms.
Oh yeah, they would love that.
If your contract expires, we want you.
I would.
We all just talk about us doing a 10,000 seat building and all this and that with Cody Rhodes.
I will buy the pay-per-view. I will fucking be on YouTube right away, giving thought. Like I would that would be huge if they got him. So
yeah,
we'll see.
That's
it's gonna be
a big deal. So I feel like this is I think this is Daniel Bryan saying like, hey guys, I'm going to leave.
Yeah, you better do something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a reason why I shouldn't leave.
Yeah, you better do something quick. So that's
and especially because we don't really report about the lawsuit stuff and whatnot with the concussions, but from what I've read up on in recent time, that seems to be the building blocks are starting to happen where that seems like that might be going away.
And the reason we haven't covered it as much is because there's been a lot of stalling. We were covering it hot and heavy for
Constantine Pyros, who seems just like an ambulance chaser.
Yeah, that's what happens with a lot of lawsuits. Like there's a lot of stalling and extensions.
But it seems like it's quietly might go away, and
maybe
and that seemed to be like the big hang up with. I firmly believe like he had doctors that said he shouldn't wrestle, and the WWE doctor Joseph Maroon and all things like that. But I do feel like that lawsuit had a lot to do with them saying, "Hey, we need to take you out of the ring,"
which makes sense. But that could be changing. So
that could be changing.
So the stuff he's saying.
This Kurt Angle thing opens up a lot of questions over the next year in regards to Daniel Bryan. So I think that's a big. I think much more even than Kurt's return to the ring tonight. I think that's the even bigger takeaway to take from tonight's show.
Absolutely.
For the future.
Absolutely.
Well, that brings up a great point because the thing is, Kurt Angle is 49 years old. He's reaching closer to 50 anytime. Daniel Bryan's much younger than that.
And yes, he's had the concussion. And yes, he's had the concussions. He's had, seizures that were undocumented to even his wife.
That's true.
Yes, but
he's hiding it. Yeah.
I mean, yes. So
that's true.
It's a little different.
It's two completely different things, but you're right, Walkie. He's much younger than Angle, and there's less miles in that body and less damage done to him.
And he's been doing the oxygen deprivation therapy, so we'll see if that helps the brain. And he said it's been showing some progress, and that's kind of a experimental treatment. But a lot of stuff like that has been coming up in science magazines and treatments and stuff like that. So they're even supposedly going to be coming up with some kind of a pill that helps treat people that either get concussions or have CTE symptoms to where it almost gets completely wiped out.
Yeah, there was that electrotherapy stuff that was going on over in Japan with the stuff that happened this year with Kazuya Shibata when he had that hematoma, and it was like, well, he ain't wrestling again because he's seeing double vision and whatnot. And what happens? He shows back up at the G1 Climax Finals in August, and he looks fine, and he's like, I want to come back. So anything can happen.
It's honestly very, very possible. It's very, very possible. Well, Walkie, thanks for the phone call, man. We appreciate it.
No problem. It's good to get a chance to catch up with you guys. So I know you guys are going to wrap up, so I'll let you guys go. You guys have a good one.
All right, thanks, Walkie, man. A lot of good calls tonight, Jason. I was not expecting. Usually when I open up the phone lines, the direct opposite happens where nobody wants to call in. So real quick.
People had a lot to say about this show. So that's a good thing for what was perceived as a B show. We got a lot of feedback.
It was the Kurt Angle thing, I think. So far, 72% give it a thumbs up on Twitter. So we'll have the final results.
Yeah. I think that's a lot to do with the changes made to the show. That was when that news broke on Friday night. That poll, I had put a poll up on the Twitter. It was
right. I saw that.
These changes make you now more interested in the show, and it seemed like it seemed like it has.
Giant thank you to you for helping out this weekend, because the shit always seems to hit the fan when I'm like, I'm gonna go for like 2 days, I'll be back. I literally had a conversation with Paul on Thursday, and I'm like, there's a pay-per-view Sunday, but I'll probably be quiet Friday, Saturday, and I'll be back in time for Sunday, so everything will be fine. And then
Friday's usually always, inside baseball, everybody, but Friday's usually always a very quiet day on the website.
It's usually very, very quiet day, but not this weekend. So I'm cursed. I just give up. I'm cursed. I can't. I'm just gonna go into every little break as like, okay, so what's gonna happen now? We'll just time it up with whenever I decide to take time off, and that's usually when something huge in wrestling tends to happen. All right, everybody, we're going to get the hell out of here. Jason, thanks for jumping on here after Mike. I want to say thanks to Mike Tedesco as well.
Mikey Tabasco.
Mikey Tabasco. I will be back live tomorrow on Wrestleview via text. I'll be covering Raw for 3 hours, and then Mike will be back Tuesday covering SmackDown as well. Next, one of these, next Wrestleview Live, we are going to do a post-show, believe it or not, after the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, the Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory show, which
sponsored
is
by Impact Pizza.
I saw that. They're doing Impact Pizza.
Size of pile driver or scissor kick, whatever the hell kind
I don't know what it was. I got the press release and I went, delete. Nobody gives a shit.
There was literally a conference call about Impact Pizza. Yeah. I kid you not, everybody.
That went in the old delete box pretty quick when I saw that one.
Oh, my God.
So we are back 2 weeks from tonight. It is November the 5th, and I have confirmed that the guest that will join me on that show will be the Trey Dog. He joined me.
Oh, the dang old Trey Dog.
The HRB goes, you're going to be the only viewers. But I will say this. When we did a Slammiversary show back in June, that was one of our most listened to podcasts all year. So
because they were just waiting for the train wreck.
I think because I promoted Trey. So Trey will be here, and Trey doesn't watch wrestling.
Actually, Kurt. Right?
Exactly.
Trey's a draw still for listenership.
He does. So Trey, and he joined me back in June for Slammiversary, and will join me for Bound for Glory in 2 weeks. So we'll be here.
I haven't, obviously been following the stuff. It's not a bad lineup for Bound for Glory. It is just that this company is just such a mess right now. It's just there's just nothing there. I mean, they had the one night only pay-per-view taping last night in Oklahoma and did 161 people.
Do they have well, yeah, but that was an indie show though. Do they have a card for Bound for Glory?
I
know it's Eli Drake.
I can remember offhand. The current card is Eli Drake defending the Global Championship against Johnny Impact or Johnny Mundo Morrison, whatever the hell you want to call him. They have not announced anything for the X division yet.
Okay.
The Knockouts title, which was originally going to be a 4-way, is now Sienna defending it against Gail, Kim, and Allie. Taryn Terrell is out because she's again gone from the company.
Why isn't Rosemary in that match?
Rosemary will be facing Taya Valkyrie in a separate singles match.
Okay. Taya Valkyrie is strange.
They announced that on Thursday. Lashley and King Mo returning from Bellator fame, part of America's Top Team.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Which has actually been one of the few bright spots of the Impact show is the American Top Team stuff with Dan Lambert.
God, Trey's not going to know what the fuck happened since he last watched the show. Because he went into Slammiversary who is this? And I kind of set it up, but he knew James Storm, so he's like, oh, James Storm's this. It's hilarious how much has changed since June, between June and October.
It's a little refresher course.
But it's fun though. I like that when someone has just no idea what's going on and they just kind of give a genuine.
Yeah, so it'll be Lashley and King Mo taking on Moose and Stephan Bonner, who has recently become the latest mixed martial arts former competitor to transition to the world of pro wrestling, following the likes of Matt Riddle and in recent times in the last year.
Nobody cares. Exactly. It's just happening. Just nobody cares.
LAX against OVE, the Chris brothers, Jake and Dave Chris in a 51-50 street fight.
I hope LAX wins. OVE is terrible. That is a terrible.
They're a good tag team.
No, they're not.
How they portrayed them on the show is not good.
Their promos are terrible. I was not impressed with the in-ring stuff. They are just as indie generic as you could come. They're terrible. I'm sorry.
There's going to be the return of Alberto El Patron.
That's right. Who's been gone for a while.
From his indefinite suspension of nothing that he did wrong.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I don't know who will be wrestling on the show, but he'll be on the show.
Torqueman just promoted the show as TNA Impact, GFW Impact, Pizza Crazy Bread Wrestling Federation, Bound for Glory, which he's very right because there's just
that's all right.
They've also transitioned away from GFW back to Impact, so that's the other.
And I believe there's going to be something involving I think Eddie Edwards, EC3, and James Storm against the AAA contingent of. Phantasma, Tejano, and Pagano.
God. Just a bunch of people I don't know, so that's going to be fun.
I know a lot of those guys from Lucha Underground, which apparently is not ever coming back.
No, not happening. All right, well, I just want to let everybody know Trey's going to hang out with us in 2 weeks, so we'll be here covering that show. So there you go. And then after that, I think it's just Survivor Series, and then maybe there's a December show, I think, Clash of Champions, maybe? I don't know.
Yes. Okay. And then the day before Survivor Series will be NXT TakeOver War Games.
That's right.
The return of the two-ring steel cage WCW staple, which I am very excited to be covering. I cannot wait for that.
I don't care. Sorry.
Oh.
Not a fan, but that's if you're excited for it. I know Brian Farmer's probably fucking pumped to see War Games, but I'm just like, okay. I like everybody in the match, but I'm just not like ready to lose my shit. I'm gonna watch it first, and then I'll let you know, because everyone that's like got a big boner for it before they've even seen it, that's concerning to me, because Brian was just telling me earlier, expectations are too high. Well, everyone needs to calm down. Let's just see what they do.
Calm down on this one, because it's not even like it's like old, like the original kind of War Games concept. It's the one that they did the end of WCW, which wasn't good, which is 3 teams of 3.
Aren't they doing 2 rings though? Because I saw
They are doing 2 rings. Yeah, okay. The steel cage above 2 rings. Yes, they have set up the Toyota Center in Houston on that night for that. But yeah, they're doing 3 teams, so that's not.
I'll check it out, but I'm just people need to. Okay, let's just put them. Let's put them expectations at mid-level before we start.
NXT has been a really good television show since.
There's been doing some good stuff with Drew McIntyre and Andre Cien Elmas, or however you want to pronounce it. The girl
the Velveteen Dream and Aleister Black. I really enjoyed their.
They're doing good stuff too. Yeah, I see the clips. I've enjoyed it. So some good stuff there. Okay, so we're gonna get the hell out of here. We went a lot longer than I thought, but I was surprised at how many people called the show tonight. I guess the Kurt Angle fever struck the Wrestleview live YouTube. Hopefully nobody else got viral meningitis or anything listening to us tonight. But God, what a scare that was. I hope everybody's okay on the roster. I'll be honest, that's a scary thing.
The fact that they were like testing everybody as a preventive measure, like
vaccinate your children, everybody. How dare you? That's scary.
It's like flu season. Like, y'all should know better.
Scary.
October, like
when they were talking about because I remember when I went to Disney a couple of years ago and they were talking about a mumps outbreak. I was like, I don't want to fucking go in there if there's a like who gets the mumps in 20 set? Like I was like that was like 3 years ago, and then a lot of stuff came out about people not vaccinating children, and then to have this hit their roster, I was just like, wow, that is crazy. That's not good. It's not good. It's very scary. So. Be safe, everybody. Wash your hands. Don't touch your eyes, and don't put your fingers in your mouth. It's be scary. Not good.
Don't too sweet yourself. You might get
mumps. Yeah, don't do anything. Yeah, don't even touch yourself. It's scary these days. Okay, so we'll be back 2 weeks from tonight, November the 5th, to cover Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory with the Trade Dogs. So thank you to Mike Tedesco and Jason Namako. Thank you, sir, for joining me on the podcast. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
My podcast, The Roundtable with Nicholas Gray, each and every week on RadioInfluence.com. The last episode, we talked a lot about the WWE goings on, stuff going on, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling. The fact that I posted about this today, that Okada is now the longest reigning IWGP champion of all time.
That's right.
490 days. Talked about some of the stuff leading up to the Wrestle Kingdom show coming up, and we also reviewed, because we also do the movies and entertainment stuff. We reviewed Cuphead, which is has been getting a lot of play.
Doug would like that. Doug was all about that a couple of years ago.
So we reviewed that game. We'll be reviewing WWE 2K18 on our upcoming podcast. Since I've gotten a chance to play it, Nick's got a chance to play it, and we're looking forward to reviewing that. And we'll break down even more of the TLC pay-per-view and all the other goings on in wrestling and entertainment and all things like that. So
very nice. Also, I want to extend a thank you to Hatchet Book Group for letting us give away a copy of Chris Jericho's new book titled "No is a 4-letter word, How I Failed Spelling but Succeeded in Life." So congratulations to Bill, and thank you for the copy. I'm going to go ahead and start reading this one. I just finished Daniel Bryan's book. Took me a long time, so I'll start on Jericho's next. So thank you guys. We appreciate that. And we will see you guys 2 weeks from tonight for Bound for Glory. Of course, you can check out this podcast on YouTube. Just search Wrestleview Live or Wrestleview. If you want the audio version, just search Wrestleview Media on SoundCloud or iTunes, and you can subscribe to the podcast and listen to us or watch us or whatever the hell you want to do. So we are here. Follow us on Twitter at Wrestleview. I am at Adam Wrestleview. Jason, you've changed your Twitter handle so much that I don't know what to put.
At Jason_Namako.
Okay, because at one point it was different, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I had the WV thing in there, and I switched it out. Yes.
Okay, so there you go. So you follow Jason, and you can follow Mike Tedesco at Mike Tedesco WV as well. And thanks, everybody, for calling in. We appreciate that, and we will talk to you 2 weeks from tonight. Bye.
Later.